Hello, family. Greetings. Welcome. It is Friday, April the 4th, 2025, and the time is 2:19 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, welcome, family. It is Friday. Happy Friday. Yay! It's Friday. Happy Friday. It's time to celebrate, family. Join in. Check in and let us know where you're hailing from. I see Sister Crystal is here. She says, yes, Dr. Kia Pruitt. And some of the rest of you are chiming in. Some people will be coming a little later because, as you know, I didn't give you much of a notice. But today, I just wanted to briefly discuss how you're about to be very wealthy, and I'm about to be very wealthy. If you have foreign currencies, you're going to be wealthy. If you don't, you're going to be wealthy because of Nasara and Jasara. If you have digital assets, XRP, XLM, XDC, et cetera, you're about to be wealthy. No matter what, if you have invested in gold and or silver, copper, or other minerals, you're going to be wealthy. We're all going to be extremely wealthy, family, and prosperous because this is the season of abundance, prosperity, and the season of a new year. So happy new year. Happy April. Guys, I see you checking in from Ontario. Welcome, Sister or Bambina from Ontario, Canada. Welcome, Crystal. It says Oahu. Is that Hawaii or you're just saying hi? Maryland is in the house. Who else? Thrive is here. Says, I got my currencies and I'm ready to go. Wait until I tell you all this breaking news. President Trump's tariffs will force a currency revaluation and set everybody on a level playing field. You know how I like to do. I like to show you all news articles, videos, and put everything together so that we can see the full picture. Because a lot of economists are saying Trump putting tariffs on other countries is going to force our nation to take a downturn economically, but that's not true. That rhetoric that some economists are spewing out and the mainstream media is picking up and putting out and circulating in the news is just not true, family. So stay encouraged, keep your vibrations high. I'm going to show you how, in fact, President Trump putting tariffs on these other countries or taxes on these countries that import goods into our country is not going to make our country take a downturn. Is not going to cause these countries to say, oh my God, we're not going to import any goods into your country. I mean, if they did, who cares? We can manufacture our own goods, but that's not what's going to happen. I'm going to show you what's really happening behind the scenes. Houston, Texas is in the house. Hi, C. Jones. Jerron Jackson from Birmingham, Alabama is in the house. Welcome. Laylee is here from Hawaii, or Laylee. Thrive is from Colorado. Anitra says, I love you. You're the best. Thank you, Sister Lewis. God bless you. Heaven smile on you. Ellen says, hi there, beautiful Dr. Kia. Hope you're having a beautiful day. I am. I couldn't sleep last night. I called all of my friends that's in my contact that knows about what's going on and shared this information with them. And they share information with me to let us know it's about to go down. Yes, ma'am. And yes, sir. Missy says, beautiful people from Baltimore, Maryland. Sister Cheryl Watkins says, Grand Rising Queen and Soul Family from Victorville, California in the house. Hi, Cheryl. Welcome. Golden Arrow is here from Kentucky. Hi, sisters. Always good to see you. Live in the Now is here. Also, I see Sarah from Florida in the house. Crystal from Hawaii. Chloe from Harris says, hi, Dr. Kia. I got my currencies. Yes. Let's celebrate. Get you a glass of wine, water, if you don't want to drink wine, coffee, tea, because this is about to get juicy, family. Noella's in the house, says, hi, beautiful. Deborah is here. Welcome, Deborah from Las Vegas. Andrea says, hello from Minnesota. Tiffany is here from Bowie, Maryland. Toya is here also from Maryland, says, thanks for the information. You're welcome. Tiffany from Orlando is here. Missouri is in the house. Who is that from Missouri? Hi, Kay Harris. It's always good to see you. Who is that? Adelea Gonzalez says, hi, Dr. Kia Pruitt. You are gorgeous. Thank you. Thumbs up, y'all. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, family, share the video, but hit the like button as you enter the room. Toya is in Bowie right now. Anitra's from sunny California. Noah says, likely to cause stagflation. This has happened before. Thank you for your information, Noah. Let's see. Ian says, good afternoon. Joining from Tallahassee. Gregory's in the house, ready for this currency revaluation. I love you too. What's that? C. Nichols. I love you. Living in now says, I'm from Las Vegas, sending love. Adrian says, I'm from Ohio or in Ohio currently. Janine says, love, dog. Who is that? Therapy says hello. Laylee says hello. Adjoa is a Ghanaian name, I believe. Adjoa, though, is in New York. All right. Golden Arrow, 49 thumbs up. From Kentucky. Yes, family, let's go. Greetings, Biggs. It's good to see you. Ronald says, keep spreading the good news and the good words. I will. Donald is from Michigan. Hello, Raymond. It's good to see you. Who else? Thank you for calling me beautiful. Deborah's from Las Vegas. Mario says, lovely, Dr. Kia. Thank you for all of your knowledge and wisdom. We appreciate you. God bless you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you more. Who is this? C's Rich says, greetings. Greetings to you, C's. Thank you for always being here. Gregory's in the house sending love. Hello. Who is this? Renee or Rini from Houston. We free. Yes, we are. We don't have to cry and sing no songs, like, please let us go free. And remember that one line from Amistad, give us free or give us our free. We have freedom, victory, prosperity, and peace coming in very, very soon. Rose says, I'm new to your lives from Atlanta. All right. Your info is dope. Thank you so much, Sister Rose. I appreciate you. All ads are butting in. I apologize for that. Awakened One. Thank you for letting us know. Island Man is here. Is it better to buy precious metals or currencies? I say get both. Get whatever you can afford. It's always a good idea to get as much as you can of different things, right? You want to spread your portfolio around or diversify so that if something doesn't go or doesn't revalue right away, then whatever you did invest in, the other thing that you put in your portfolio will likely go. So diversify. Look at your budget, see what you can afford and diversify, because gold and silver will revalue. And I know that because in order to pay off the debts on the books, according to mainstream economists, and those are your Keynesian economists, and Austrian economists, in order to pay off all the debts on the books, you have to revalue gold between $10,000 per ounce and $100,000 per ounce. But right now, gold is actually going down, although it had hit like 31, almost $3,200 per ounce. It's going down. It's only $3,000 per ounce. And silver, whereas it had breached $35 per ounce, it has gone down for $29 per ounce. However, the good thing about this, the fact that silver and gold are going down, is that this is a great buying opportunity. So the markets always fluctuate when you have different things happen in the political landscape. All of your investments, all markets fluctuate depending upon what's going on geopolitically, whether it's a new election, presidents are negotiating trade deals or their tariff wars. All of that affects your investments. So whenever you see it going down, just know it will correct. To answer your question, I would say get currencies and precious metals. That way you're safe, and even a little digital assets like XRP, XLM, et cetera, et cetera. Excellent question. Lucy's in the house. Ronaldo from Virginia's in the house. Sister Deborah Wallace says, hi, my beautiful sister, Dr. Kia. I love you from Western Pennsylvania. I love you back. Wai Fong here says, hello, beautiful people. Also, I want to give a shout out to Sister Roan. We are so grateful that you join us. Larry is here. Sister Roan was from Columbus. Larry is representing from the ATL. The A, Hotlanta. Kat is from Cleveland, where I was born and raised. Big GMO says tariffs and Doge both are Moorish. Wow, I didn't know that. Rasta says Rich Rising from Boston. We have 222 people in the chat. I see you, Emily. I see you, Sunday Alex. Also, Clifton's in the house. Anitra has her currencies ready for the green light. You say you're waiting on the green light, Anitra? I'm glad you said that, because I saw something yesterday that my friend Patrick from our hometown, Cleveland, Ohio, showed us. Okay. Speaking of the green light, let me just bring this up since you mentioned that. Who was that said that? Anitra says, I have my currency just waiting on the green light. Check this out, Sister Anitra. I posted this on my YouTube community section. Look, this was the Wheel of Fortune the other day. Somebody in Texas screenshot this and it says, we got the green light. Okay. Do you see that? This was just the other day, and I posted it on my section, the community section, or the post section of my YouTube channel, Dr. Kia Pruitt Official, and I said green means go. The reason why I posted that is because the Wheel of Fortune is also the same game show that had posted currency revaluations months ago. And I posted that in my community section as well. So maybe they're trying to tell us something. Okay. The topic was colorful language, and it says, we got the green light. I just wanted to put that up for you all to be encouraged. And since you said you were waiting on a green light, Sister Anitra, I thought this was the appropriate time to show that to the whole family. So Palm Beach, Florida's in the house. Yes, I've bought currency on Amazon before. You can go to Amazon, eBay, 100trillions.com. banknoteworld.com, Safe Dinar, and there are many others. You can Google online currency dealers. And then family, please put in the chat where people can get foreign currencies like the Iraqi dinar, Vietnamese dong, Venezuelan bolivar, Indonesian rupiah, Indian rupee, Afghanistan, Afghani, and there are several others. Put them in the chat, family, so our family can get ready. Okay, and they can be ready for this currency revaluation or currency reinstatement. A revaluation means that they're revaluing or reassessing the value of the country's currencies. But more appropriately, it's called a reinstatement of currencies. The countries will reinstate the value of the currencies that they had before the countries experienced war or sanctions by the United States Incorporated. So I'm going to get into that now. Keep checking in, family, saying hello to your soul family. And as we go on, I will give you all some more shout outs. Before I go into that, earlier today and the other day, many of you sent me a Cash App blessing. So I want to say thank you so much. And we're going to get into the news. Thank you, Donald Richardson, for the love, sending a Cash App blessing. Thank you, Sister Deborah Allen. She said, let's go. Douglas Lattimore, my son, sent me a few $100s. Thank you, Douglas. Marcia Daniel sent a blessing. Thank you so much. Beautiful Max Ministry with the $600 blessing. Wow. You guys are really taking care of Dr. Kia Pruitt. I appreciate you. Anybody asking, the Cash App is $MAMAKIA 13. That's $Mama Kia 13. Thank you for pouring into me as I pour into you. Now let's get right into the news. President Donald Trump's tariffs will force a currency revaluation, and you can mock my word, family, or mark my words. Now, for those of you who don't know it, people are calling these retaliatory tariffs because many countries put tariffs or taxes or duties, those words are all synonymous with each other, on goods that were imported from America into their country. However, when these countries imported their goods into America, they didn't have hardly any tariff or tax or duty placed upon them because the deep state that was running the country here in America chose not to tax these companies for doing business and for allowing their goods to come into our country, but instead they taxed the people through the IRS, the Internal Revenue Services. This is why President Donald Trump said on the campaign trail, and as soon as he got into office, I am going to end the Internal Revenue Services and I am going to create the External Revenue Services. The External Revenue Services, in his words, were a service or an office or a system that he put in place to start taxing these countries. That's why they're calling it retaliatory taxes. You want to play hardball? You want to tax us? and not just tax us a little bit, but overtax us for importing our goods into your country. You're welcome, okay, that we sent you goods, but you want to overtax us. And all these different people that were in power before President Trump didn't put some taxes on some of these nations at all or very little. Okay, let's play hardball. So President Trump put taxes back on them. And what he did was he made an announcement that these countries had until April the 2nd to remove tariffs from our imported goods. You can either remove them all or you can cut back on the tariffs. He gave them till April the 2nd, just 2 days ago, and he called that Liberation Day. But the thing that I love about Liberation Day is that we weren't only celebrating that President Trump knew he was going to force these nations' hand to do something, but it also commemorated what? Congress's Coinage Act of 1792. So we are celebrating the liberation of our nation from being taxed to the wazoo for importing goods, which will free the American people, put more wealth into our country, and simultaneously, he's ending the Internal Revenue Services. So no more taxing our income, but now taxing the other nations, which is the way it used to be to begin with. So you don't just have President Trump putting taxes on these other nations, but he also created a sovereign wealth fund. The sovereign wealth fund is a fund that's comprised of rare earth minerals, precious metals like silver, gold, copper, palladium, platinum, and others, real estate, digital assets, and foreign currencies. This sovereign wealth fund that he created is created for two purposes: for development, to develop our nation, and investments. And that way you don't have to tax the people. Can you see how President Trump has gotten rid of the IRS and instead put in the ERS, the External Revenue Service? Now, of course, you have just a few minions that are operating at a certain level in the IRS, but for the most part, the duties of the Internal Revenue Services has been put under the United States Treasury Department, and President Trump did that under his first administration. This is why if you have problems with the IRS, you need to write a letter to the IRS, but also send the same letter to the United States Treasury Department, and you will get an answer. Everybody that's done that and listen to me, got an answer. I've had family members that had money stolen that the IRS took from them for certain reasons. I said, write the IRS, then sent the duplicate letter to the United States Treasury Department, tell them you need your money back. You're having financial issues. And I tell you, one family member I know that had $10,000 that the IRS had taken from him, paid him back $10,000. And I told him, right in that letter, you have 30 days to respond. Okay. And even those of you that have to pay taxes, taxes are voluntary. You really don't have to. I will write a letter and tell them you're not able to, ask them to either forgive the debt or just put off the payments. Okay. This is just what I would do, what I told my family members to do. But make sure you write that letter to the not only IRS, but the United States Treasury Department as well. Because when my daughter had issues with the IRS, they wouldn't refund her money. She was due a tax refund. I said, write a letter to both the IRS and the Treasury Department. And she went a step further. She kept calling the IRS. This agent wouldn't answer. And I said, baby, that's because the lights are on, but nobody's home. And the lights might not even be on home now because President Trump halted the hiring of those 87,000 IRS workers that were supposed to come on to force us to pay income taxes. Remember that? He halted that. So those 87,000 workers that were supposed to come on, they haven't been hired. And the rest were let go. Many of those IRS workers have been let go since 2017. And I know because I know a person at the highest level that was working for her husband was working for the IRS. She told us in 2017 they were letting workers go, and the ones that remained were put under the United States Treasury Department. So President Trump family is getting rid of the Internal Revenue Service, and he created the External Revenue Service. So on April the 2nd, we celebrated what's called Liberation Day. That was the day that President Trump actually announced the deadline for the tariffs, that he was going to start putting tariffs on these other nations. And he told them, you need to respond. That was April the 2nd. Well, interestingly enough, many economists thought that these nations would not listen to Trump, but would keep the tariffs on our country. And that's not what happened. Let's look at Liberation Day first. That was just 2 days ago. So let me see if this is the right article. Oh, it talks about how President Trump made the Liberation Day because he plans to impose new tariffs on imported goods. He argues that tariffs will create a more balanced economic playing field for United States exports and encourage domestic manufacturing. Economists generally agree that tariffs could lead to higher consumer prices. So economists would try to make you afraid and say, oh no, this could lead to higher prices and more retaliatory tariffs from other countries and negative impacts on the consumer sentiments. And our stock prices can go up. But that is not, in fact, what happened, family. Let me tell you what happened, in fact. Trump, when he said he was going to put tariffs on what he calls the dirty 15, these nations that had put high tariffs on our goods going into their country, said, I'm going to do this for 4 reasons. Okay. The reasons why I'm putting tariffs or taxes or duties on these other countries is because it curbs the flow of fentanyl and illegal migration coming into this country. This is why at the same time he was putting tariffs on these other countries and getting rid of the Internal Revenue Services, he was also protecting our borders and deporting any migrants or immigrants that were here illegally. He was not, in fact, trying to separate families. What he was doing is he was making a bold statement, but he put actions behind his word that anybody that was here illegally, maybe they didn't have their paperwork filed properly, or they didn't have any paperwork, or they were here being involved in criminal activity such as trafficking of drugs, humans, organs, all of that, he deported them. That protects the American people and it protects our economy. So the purpose for President Trump's tariffs, there are 4. Curb the flow of fentanyl and illegal migration into the United States. Number 2, he says he's going to level the playing field with trade partners. Number 3, and raise government revenue. Number 3, he's going to boost the domestic manufacturing. Excuse me. So that I think that's 3. Curb the flow of fentanyl. Oh, and yeah, curb illegal migration. That's 2. The next is level the playing field with trade partners and raise government revenue and boost domestic manufacturing. In other words, the reciprocal tariff, actually reshapes the economy. It's going to change the way the economy has been operating here in America, because most of our goods here in America, our clothes, our food, our cars, our computers, our phones, almost everything was coming from China, Vietnam, Canada, where else? Other nations, even Israel. Why were so many of our products and even our foods coming from other nations, as if we can't manufacture our own goods, and our farmers, as if they can't grow our own foods? So the thing about some of the economists that were taught Keynesian economics, or they were taught mainstream economics, is that they push fear and propaganda because that's what they're taught. They're taught that if countries continue to put tariffs on us, and we threaten, therefore, to put tariffs on them, then somehow that's going to negatively impact us. But in fact, what happened is, even before President Trump's deadline of April the 2nd, putting tariffs on those countries backed down. Okay, they talked a good game, but they backed down. Canada backed down about a month or 2 ago. Initially, Canada said, you put tariffs on us, we'll put tariffs on you. But President Trump would not push back. And so the president in Canada said, okay, you're right. We're not going to put tariffs on American imported goods. And we are going to protect the border. And we are going to put different agents around the border to reduce and prevent fentanyl coming from Canada into America. So I reported on that about a month or so ago. But most recently, what we saw is Israel removing every single one of their taxes, tariffs, or duties on American imported goods. Every single one. And they should, okay? Because Israel really isn't even a real nation, right? I mean, you do have actual real Israelite people, but I'm talking about this whole state of Israel that was in that region, Palestine. Those people were actually bloodline families connected to the Rothschilds. Those were Rothschild family members that the deep state, the Pope, and the British Crown gave. They gave that land called Israel in the Palestine region to them so that they can do whatever they want. And they were doing a lot of illegal, nefarious activities over there. So even before President Trump had made his announcement that he was going to put retaliatory tariffs on these nations, Israel removed their taxes. They eliminated all the taxes on imported goods. Here it is right here. Just then, you can go to watcherguru.com. Israel eliminates all tariffs on United States goods to avoid President Trump's reciprocal tariffs. So it's not true that these nations would decide to clap back or to do anything harmful to us because they really don't have the power. America is a powerhouse, okay? So Israel reduced their taxes and Vietnam cut tariffs ahead of Trump's deadline, April 2nd deadline. So all of you that have Vietnamese dong, I'm going to show you why that's significant. You see here, Vietnam gives United States tax breaks ahead of tariff announcements. Vietnam is cutting taxes on United States imports and approving Starlink services ahead of United States President Trump's announcements of reciprocal tariffs this Wednesday, April the 2nd. In their statement, the government announced a reduction in its import tax on ethanol from 10% to 5%, on liquefied natural gas from 5% to 2%, on some type of cars from 64% to 32%, cut it in half. And many agricultural products like chicken, I didn't even know chicken was coming from Vietnam. What in the world? Chicken, nuts, apples, cherries, raisins, they'll all receive reduced taxes or tax deductions. The changes went into effect Monday, March the 31st, before President Trump's deadline. Let me know in the chat what you think about that. And the countries that did not respond by April the 2nd, they have until April the 9th to respond. And it's not because President Trump is just, being nice to them, but he gave some of those countries who had the highest tariffs on us until April the 9th. And their response will not be to put higher tariffs on us because, again, they don't really have the power to do that. If they do that, then President Trump has the power to hurt them significantly. But they don't want to cause any big problems. Their responses, not only those that had the highest tariffs on us, but all of these nations' response will be two things. They will drop the United States dollar for trade. They can either choose to stop trading with the dollar or they can revalue their currencies. Why would they revalue their currencies if President Trump puts a tariff on their on imported goods coming into our country? Because they want to have a level playing field. And Trump said this during his first administration. In fact, let me quote him exactly what he said. Listen to this, and I'm going to show you a video. He said, as far as the currency devaluation, I have been complaining about that for a long time. And I believe eventually, probably sooner than anyone thinks, we will all be on a level playing field. And that's only fair. I'll say it again. As far as the currency devaluation, he said this, President Trump said this during his first administration around 2018, 2019. I have been complaining about that for a long time. And I believe eventually, probably sooner than anyone thinks, we will all be on a level playing field. Revaluating the country's currencies all over the world will make us all be on a level playing field. Remember, this is actually a secret agreement behind the scenes between 209 nations. I've told you this many, many years, for the last 7 years. It's called Project Sandman. The secret agreement was for, when triggered, these nations to stop trading with the dollar and use their own currencies for trade. How will they use their own currencies for trade? If their currencies have been devalued, okay, they will revalue their currencies by using the country's resources like silver, gold, palladium, platinum, oil, whatever they have, to back their currencies. So when President Trump put tariffs on these nations, instead of retaliating and putting tariffs back on us or raising the tariffs with these countries, some of them have said, we'll stop trading with the dollar. At least that's what they're saying on paper. But that happened already through BRICS, okay? More importantly, they will revalue their country's currencies so that they can have a level playing field. They will reduce the tariffs, like I showed you, Vietnam and Israel has done on our imported goods. And to have a level playing field, they will revalue their currencies. Remember, this has all been planned. The secret agreement called Project Sandman is something I've been talking about since 2017. You guys already know about it. When triggered, they will stop trading with the dollar and use their own country's currencies backed by precious metals. The trigger was Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin went to Ukraine, exposed all the money laundering and trafficking and all the stuff that was going on in Ukraine. Biden put sanctions on Vladimir Putin. Okay, he wasn't worried about it. He clapped back and he started trading with his own country's currencies and dropped the dollar, then start trading with his own currency. That was in 2022. Remember the Ukrainian war news, and mainstream media was making everybody all afraid. Oh my God, Russia's at war with Ukraine, because people just didn't know he was exposing the deep state's deeds there. And that was part of Project Sandman's deal. When triggered, we would stop trading with the dollar and use our own country's currencies. Then Vladimir Putin in 2022 clapped back, started using his own currency. The Russian ruble became the strongest performing currency in the world in 2022. Then Vladimir Putin led Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, those 5 nations called BRICS, to do the same. Stop trading with the dollar and use their own currencies. Then he went to the BRICS summit and he spoke to all the nations that were interested in joining, including Saudi Arabia and those African nations and many others, and said, I encourage you to start trading with your own currencies. And if you need your help, we got military to back you up. That's why Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Senegal, and Chad stopped doing business with the French. They kicked the French. They weren't really doing business. They kicked the French off their nation, and they created their own allies, their own military. And that caused France's economy to do a downward spiral. And because of that, France's response of, they were struggling now, they couldn't suck on the breast of those African nations. Then they did a no confidence vote and got rid of their whole finance department, and they're pressuring Macron to step down. So you have the BRICS nations and you have the Shanghai Corporation. Shanghai Corporation are those Asian nations. Brazil, Russia, India, China, Saudi Arabia joined BRICS, and many other nations, such that I think when I reported it in 2022, it was 85% of the global population had joined BRICS. So you got BRICS now is most of the world. BRICS, almost all of the world, and the Shanghai Corporation organizations, the Asian nations, have all coalesced against not America, but the United States Incorporated, and stopped trading with the dollar and now using their own currencies. So by them refusing to trade with the dollar, that is causing the dollar to lose its value. When Trump put reciprocal tariffs on these nations, the nations that didn't stop trading with the dollar, those nations just said, we're not going to trade with the dollar. That further devalues the United States dollar. Okay, so yeah, we probably will have a stock market collapse, a housing market collapse, anything attached to the dollar, the old fiat dollar, and that whole financial system will collapse. What's the response? To revalue the currencies so that these countries can participate in a level playing field, and trade and barter with each other. Okay. We know this, right? But a lot of people don't. So don't let these economists and mainstream media get you all upset. Let me show you what President Trump said under his first administration, and we'll get out of here. Thank you for the Cash App blessing, family. I appreciate you. I hear it going off, but I'm not able to acknowledge it because I want to get through this. I have to pick up my grandchildren. This was during Trump's first term. He said, as far as the currency devaluation, I've been complaining about this for a long time, and I believe eventually, probably sooner than anyone thinks, we'll have a level playing field. That's the only way. It is fair. So let me take this.
And we will make it fair.
Hold on, family.
I think as far as the currency devaluations, I've been complaining about that for a long time. And I believe that we will all eventually, and probably very much sooner than a lot of people understand or think, we will be all at a level playing field. Because that's the only way it's fair. That's the only way that you can fairly compete in trade and other things.
That's the only way that you can compete and trade and other things. I apologize for this video being low. I got it turned up as loudly as I can, but that's why I recited his words before I played the video.
And we will be on that field, and we will all be working very hard to do great for our country.
We will play on that field, and we all will be working very hard to do what's fair for our country.
But it has to be fair, and we will make it fair. I think the United States is going to be an even bigger player than it is right now.
He said, I think the United States is going to be an even bigger player than it is right now. I'll leave that in the description section for you, family. Also, what we know before this happened is that April the 1st, Iraq had implemented its new transport system. And I reported on that. You can go to my Dr. Kia Pruitt YouTube channel, and you can see that Iraq implemented a new transport system that connected them to more than 66 countries worldwide. And this new transport system will enable them to transport goods to many different countries quicker and more efficiently. And this will establish Iraq as the new and the biggest transport or have the biggest transport system in the whole, not only in the whole Middle East, but they will be the transportation hub of the world. And so what the articles state is by Iraq implementing this new transportation system, it will create a demand for the Iraqi dinar. So what does that mean for those of us who understand or understand or overstand economics? This new transportation system, according to articles, will create a higher demand for the Iraqi dinar. What does the principle of supply and demand state? When you have a higher demand for something, that creates a lower supply, right? Because everybody's demanding the Iraqi dinar. Everybody's demanding that particular product. So you have a high demand. That means the supply will decrease. What happens when the supply decreases on any product? What happened? It raises the value, right? It raises the value of the Iraqi dinar. The Iraqi dinar will have to be revalued. It will raise the value. Additionally, I've reported that Iraq announced that they're going to go digital. Their currency will go digital. What does that mean? If you're going to digitalize your currency and you're digitalize your economy, what that means is you're going to get rid of all the dollars, the paper that is on the streets. When you get rid of all the paper on the streets and you digitalize your currency, then you will do a currency revaluation, or you reinstate the currency back to its pre-war and pre-sanctioned value. Also, when I reported the other day that Vietnam decreased or reduced the taxes on imported American goods, they said that would increase what? The Vietnamese dong, the demand for the Vietnamese dong. If they increase the demand for the Vietnamese dong, that means there's going to be fewer Vietnamese dong around. The supply will go down, which means they will increase the value of the Vietnamese dong. Family, all of this is working together. The forced tariffs working together, implementation of new systems, countries deciding not to trade with the United States dollar. Okay, now they have to trade with their own currencies. if you're going to trade with your own currency and you're going to do business and trade with each other and you want to have a level playing field, that means you have to raise your country's currencies. You heard President Trump say that as far as the devaluation of currencies is concerned, and I've been complaining about it a long time, he said, sooner than later, sooner than anybody thinks, we'll all be on a level playing field. That's the only way. That's what's fair. Putting tariffs on these countries who are putting all these huge tariffs, taxes on our imported goods, forces them to reduce or get rid of all their tariffs. And if they want to do business with us, okay, they're going to have to revalue their currency, okay? Now, the United States dollar is being devalued. That's the one that's attached to the old system. But behind the scenes, we have the United States Treasury note, which is actually the new or the real dollar that is backed by silver and gold. And this is why Liberation Day was so important the other day. I'm going to see if I can show you the article about Liberation Day and how it was actually a twofold day. And then I really have to get out of here because it's almost, it's 3 o'clock. The kids can stay there just a little longer. I have to pick up my grandchildren. So thank you for bearing with me, family. But I really want to show you this article that talks about how important April the 2nd was. We weren't just celebrating as Liberation Day because now America will have more wealth, since we'll have more wealth now since we are putting tariffs on those nations and we're not going to have to pay out all this money to import goods. But also, not yesterday, but 2 days ago, it commemorated something called Congress Coinage Act. The Congress Coinage Act of 1792 was very, very significant. This was the precursor to the act to actually putting us on the gold standard. So I'm going to see if I can find that article for you. Liberation Day. Okay, I don't see that article. So the article that I'm looking for, I'll put it in the description section for you. The article that I'm looking for, and you guys can look it up, states that April the 2nd, 1792 was Congress Coinage Act, which linked the dollar to silver and gold. It made the dollar actually a bimetal currency. So we know that was the Coinage Act of 1792, but a lot of people didn't know that it actually happened on April the 2nd. So this celebration of Liberation Day actually was twofold, and that lets me know that silver and gold are about to go back up. It's about to explode. I know that silver and gold has come down, and I said this just in the beginning of the podcast, but it will go back up. It has to go back up because in order to pay off all the debts on the books, you have to revalue gold between $10,000 and $100,000 per ounce, according to most Austrian or many Austrian economists. So gold went down $78. Silver went down $2.46. This is a great buying opportunity. Remember what they say in investing, buy low, sell high. But I would do you one better and say, buy low and hodl, hold on for dear life. That's another investment principle. Hold on for dear life. You're all about to be wealthy. You might not have money or an investment, or you might have it to roll over fiat dollars into precious metals. But if you do, it's a good time to call Miles Franklin or any online dealer. You know, Miles Franklin is 952-929-7006, or you can send an email to info@milesfranklin.com and let them know that you heard about gold and silver on the Dr. Kia Pruitt Show. Or you can go to your local coin company. Their spot price or their market price will be the same everywhere. The market price is spot price, okay? What I just showed you, but they have to put an additional price, a premium on top of that, the price for doing business. Sometimes or oftentimes your local dealer might be a little higher because the online dealers, they can do a little more bargaining. And of course, Miles Franklin does a little extra for our customers here. But the good thing about going to your local dealer is that you will have established a relationship with them. And it's always good to establish relationships with merchants in your area because you're going to do business with them. You might want to sell silver and gold for the new currency at when the new currencies come out so that you can buy goods and services. You never know why you will need them. And you'll be able to take the gold and silver into your possession right away, unless they have to order some for you. In that case, you might as well go through Miles Franklin or an online dealer. But establish a relationship with your local dealer, get you some gold and silver if you have it, if you want to put your fiat into something that maintains its value, because the dollar loses value, it fluctuates, okay? But it loses its value over time because of all the money printing. You guys know they were printing money. The Federal Reserve Central Banking System was printing money like crazy during a global pandemic. And they've been doing it for a long time. But there's another economic principle that says as the dollar decreases in value, gold and silver increases in value. It maintains its value and increases in value, and gold and silver are a hedge against inflation. It's a good way to save your money and preserve your wealth. It keeps me from spending money, honestly. Like if I have dollars or I have digital money in a bank, I'm apt to spend it, swipe a card. But if it's locked in, a hard investment like silver, gold, land, a business, I'm less likely to spend it. So this is not necessarily financial advice, but it's the way I financially advise my family members. But it's just encouragement for you to know that there are ways to preserve your wealth. And if you don't have a lot of wealth, take what you have and buy depreciated assets. Buy some digital coins or digital currencies while you can, while they're low, okay? If you're interested. Digital assets, foreign currencies, we enumerated them: Iraqi dinar, Vietnamese dong, what else? Zimbabwean zim. Yes, hit the like button, family. What else, family? Indonesian rupiah, Indian rupee. Give us some more, family, that they should consider. The Bolivar, the Venezuelan Bolivar. These are currencies, family, that I'm encouraging you to invest in because they will revalue. And if you don't believe me, let me show you one more video before we get out of here. This will change your entire, thank you for the Cash App blessing. This will change the trajectory of your whole bloodline. This will change your future and your future generations, your posterity. This will change your life, investing in depreciated assets like these foreign currencies that I'm talking to you about, like digital assets, like houses, land, because they're coming down, like businesses, even buying you some seeds with the fiat that you have and start growing your own food, okay? Just get ready, family. Buy depreciated assets. This information is going to change your life, family. Please listen to me. You can get Vietnamese dong for as little as $10. You can get gold RM notes for $3. Go online, look at gold backs. Type in online dealers that sell gold backs or AURUM. You can get constitutional silver, erroneously called junk silver. There is a way you can preserve the wealth that you have and or create and generate wealth for your family, for your bloodline. Please listen, family, and do it. Do it while you can. And you don't have to thank me. Some people say thank me later. You don't have to thank me. Just do it for your family. They will thank you. For your bloodline, they will thank you. They will be grateful. And let me show you. So anybody that says, currencies don't be value. Uh-oh, my battery's low. Dang. Hold on, family. Let me show you this right quick. What President Trump said. Hold on. What President Trump said is we have 35 billion of their dollars sitting in our bank right now. Let me show you this right quickly, then we're going to go.
Should repay the American taxpayer for these bases, for what we've done there.
You heard that from me.
Yeah,
okay.
I know, will we?
I said we built one of the world's most expensive airport facilities anywhere in the world. I mean, I wish we had it in New York. I wish we had it in Washington. We built runways that are 15,000 feet long. At LaGuardia, they're 7,000 feet long. In fact, I think they're 20,000 feet long over there, and deep, thick concrete and steel. Nobody ever built runways like this. Okay, it was way overbuilt, but that's okay. But we have billions of dollars into that. I said, if we leave, you got to pay us. If we leave, you have to pay us for embassies. You have to pay us for the money we put in.
How are you going to collect?
Well, we have a lot of their money right now. We have a lot of their money. We have $35 billion of their money right now sitting in an account. And I think they'll agree to pay. Otherwise, we'll stay there.
We have 35 billion of Iraqi dinars sitting in our bank accounts right now. President Trump said in his first administration, he's a billionaire. He's a businessman. If that currency was not going to revalue, do you think we would have 35 billion of their dinars in our bank account? No, we would not. So we know that it's going to revalue. President Trump said we have their money. We made them pay us for protecting them. Okay. So if President Trump, a billionaire, made sure that our country has at least $35 billion of their currency in our banks right now, what should you do? What should I do? We should follow suit, follow the money, do what the rich people are doing, as long as it's benevolent. Chart a path for your family and for your posterity. My name is Dr. Kia Pruitt. I thank you all for your time, your energy, for being here, for sharing information. I thank you for the Cash App blessings. My Cash App is $ Mama Kia 13. That's MAMAKIA 13. I thank you for hitting the like button and sharing and the video, subscribing to the channel. I hope I've said something to raise your vibrations and inspire you to create the most amazing, magnificent life that you desire and deserve. Family, create it. Generate wealth, get you some currencies, get you some digital assets, get whatever it is that you can afford. And having said that, family, happy Friday. Yay! I love you. Go out and make this a great day. You are wealthy now. Peace. I love you. Bye-bye.